CK52, the Saturday morning meeting. So I had some meetings last week, wrote a brand new program on certified leasing, way too in detail to get on in a little 8 to 10 minute diatribe on the Saturday morning meeting. But let's talk about cost of money. A lot of things going on in the United States, a lot of things going on in the world right now. We know the price of oil has gone up. We know the stock market's gone up and down. What a dollar buys now, it's called shrinkflation. You go and buy some cereal. Now half the box doesn't have cereal in it, so they shrink stuff up. And inflation's gone over 7%. So the cost of money, or using money, doesn't buy you as much as it bought before. We've gone through that in periods of time. It's gone up and down for hundreds of years. It's not like this is ever going to go away. Sometimes you have a boom market, sometimes you have a bear market. It just depends on what's going on in the United States and the world. But when we're selling stuff, if the cost of that item goes up, not the purchase price of the item, but the cost of the item because the customer can't pay cash, they have to finance. So finance rates, I looked at a $50,000 purchase, and anymore, you're over $30,000 now on pre-owned. So the average pre-owned price is well over $30,000. So new cars now, if you're looking at a new vehicle and it's got quite a few of the upgraded features on there, we're approaching $50,000. And in the market where we are right now, if the car's $45,000, we're selling it for $50,000. Then people roll their taxes in there and they pay finance charges on tax. Never understood why somebody wants to pay an interest rate on tax. And above that, if they have negative equity. So let's see what we carry into the note. We're going to buy a brand new vehicle. Yes, I want a new vehicle. And we're going to not put any money down, so we're going to bring the tax in. Let's say the tax is somewhere between 7 and 10%. California runs 10%. So now I'm going to take 10%. It's going to be times 1.1. Then I'm going to pay tax on that. And I've got a few $1,000s worth of negative equity in my last car. So we're just going to sneak that in there too, so I can pay interest on a car that I'm no longer going to own. So as the price of cars go up, and because of our supply and demand, now a car that was normally going to cost $45,000, I'm going to charge $50,000 for it because I can't get another one, and that's the way supply and demand works. 2.5 years ago, we were selling cars below invoice because we had 13 to 15 of the exact same car, and every other dealer in town has that. And so you work within the market that you're given. However, if you take a $50,000 purchase and you raise the interest rate by 2 points, let's say it was 3 points and it goes to 5 because of inflation, because the interest rates are probably going to go up. So it's only a 2-point jump. That's not much. That's $2,700 more out of your pocket. So now I've paid a premium for the car. I've rolled my taxes into that. I've rolled my negative equity into that. And now my interest rate is going to cost me almost $3,000 more. So how many of these thousands of dollars do I have to throw away before I start saying, I can't afford the car? I guess at this point in time, I can't afford the car. And so that's what we've done over the years. And what happened in the 90s was a short-term guaranteed future value lease was dropped. Now, it was Toyota Motor Credit Corporation, it's TFS now, is the bank that Toyota uses. But when you use a guaranteed future value lease, and I guess I should do the term guaranteed future value. So that's the same as residual. I just don't like the word residual because nobody knows what it means. So what the bank is trying to do is to estimate the value of a vehicle based upon a certain number of miles for a certain number of months. So 36-month lease, $15K a year, 45,000 miles. They're going to say it's going to be worth X amount of money. At that point in time, you have 4 options. You can trade the car in just like you could on a retail finance deal. You could trade the car in if you have equity. That equity buys down the payment of your next vehicle you purchase. Or you could buy the vehicle from the leasing company and then sell it for a profit. So if it's worth way more than it should have been worth, or the guaranteed future value residual, you can buy it and sell it and make a profit. You can keep the money. You don't have to give that to the dealership. You could buy the vehicle for your child. So let's say they put a price of $15,000 on the vehicle after 3 years, and they're selling the open market for 17. Well, you don't have to pay 17. You pay 15. You buy it for your child, pay your taxes and fees, and they've got a vehicle that you have the maintenance background and history on because you drove it for the first 3 years. So in those 3 options, there's no penalties can be applied by the leasing company. They can't charge you a mileage penalty, and they're not going to charge you for wear and tear because all they're wanting is their guaranteed future value or residual money back. I know I said that really fast, but it doesn't mean what I said wasn't true. There is one other example, which is walk away. So for example, as gas prices go up. Let's say there's not an end to gas prices going up. Let's say we get to $3, $4, $5, $6, $7 a gallon. It happened in Europe. They bought liters, so it wasn't as bad because you're getting a lot less, but you're still paying a lot of money. At one time, I guess it equated to a little over $11 a gallon in Europe. So now the car that you were driving that got 18 miles per gallon on a good day, usually got around 15 miles per gallon, is no longer worth what they estimated it to be worth. You can physically walk away and the bank covers you or the bank takes the loss. At that point in time, if there was a mileage penalty or a wear and tear penalty, the bank could charge you that, but it's all math at the end. Everything I do with a finance contract, I could do with a lease contract and more, but the payment's lower. So I'm just going to show you this real quick and then I'm going to talk to you a little bit. Again, if 2 points of rate on a $50,000 car almost makes me $3,000 more based upon the market right now, I'm paying more for a car than I've ever paid before. And I know people are saying, well, your trade-in's worth more. And that's true. But who's better at this business? And I hate to be like this, but the people that run a dealership, that own a dealership, that manage a delership, that work in a dealership every day, are you better at this business than a customer that's not in the car business? Who's gonna win at the end in negotiation? It's always going to be the dealership. And so the customer's always going to be at the short end of the money, but we have the cars and we have the availability and we are the network. And so, that gives us the ability to be able to set the price of the market. It's just the way it works. If you don't like capitalism, guess we're in the wrong country here. So let me do this real quick. And I did this in the last week, and I just want to walk everybody through this. This is not a good lease. There's no help from Toyota. It's just not a good lease. So I've got a Highlander. It's a 2022 Highlander XLE, and the selling price of the car is $43,963. That's what I'm asking. Whether I lease the car or I finance the car, that's the price I'm paying. So the money factor here is 0.00210. Money factors to me really work when it's 0.000 or 0.0000. 3 or 4 zeros, this is only 2. It's not a great money factor, so you're going to pay a little bit more to the bank. I put an interest rate right now at 2.49, so it's going to range from 2 to 5% depending on your credit. And I even went 72 months at 2.99. The difference in these two, and all I want to talk about today is the payment on that price at that money factor on this lease is $543.62. That's my monthly payment plus tax. I got to pay tax no matter how I get a vehicle. So $543.62. The same vehicle, I'm going to drive my kids to school. I'm going to go to the grocery store. I'm going to go play golf. I'm going to do everything I normally do in the vehicle, the same. At 2.49%, that selling price right there is $727 a month. And so what I try to do with my customers, a customer sitting there going, Casey, I'm not going to pay over $700 a month for this Highlander. So at this point in time, if that customer walks because that payment is too high, I don't have a car deal. And I don't blame them. That's a lot of money. Especially if we're going to raise this up not to $43,963, we're going to add another $5,000 to sell that car at $48,000, and they're going to carry a little bit of negative equity, and they're going to roll their taxes in there. This payment's going to be almost $1,000. Over here, what if I told the customer if I could keep you under $550 a month, would that be better? He said, yeah, I wanted to be around $550. That's where I wanted to be. So I'm at $543.62 right there, and I've met their payment request. Now the only problem is I've got to sell them the lease. And over the next couple of weeks, what I'm going to do is I'm going to defer all the objections. I object to this, I object to this, I don't understand this. I'm going to knock that out for you in a very simple way, and it's all going to be math. So don't get mad at me if my math works and you're going, well, that can't be right. It is right because it's math. If I take $543.62 and I multiply it by 36 months, so that means I'm going to drive this car for 36 months. Do I own it? No, I don't own it. I've still got that residual left. Over here, if I pay $727 a month on a 60-month note, after 36 months, would I own it? No, you owe 24 more payments. You do not own the vehicle. So over here, out of my pocket, I paid $19,570.36, and now I've driven that vehicle for 3 years. I've driven it for 3 years, and I went wherever I wanted to go. Over here, $727 a month times 36 months is $26,172. The difference between these two payments is $6,601.68. So I'm done. $6,600. What does that mean? That means There's $6,600 that I haven't paid on the vehicle. That means my bank account still has $6,600. That means I drove the vehicle for 36 months and what I didn't pay was $6,600. So you could call it equity. At the end of 3 years, here's $6,600 you didn't spend. How many times do you see a customer that comes in with $6,600 worth of equity? But what I've done is I've put them into a payment they can afford, and now what I've got to do is dispel all the myths about a lease. And the only reason I'm bringing this up right now, if interest rates start to go up and payments start to get so lofty that the customer is having second thoughts, then we miss an opportunity. When I think that anybody that trades on a 3-year cycle, if they're trading a 3-year-old car or maybe an early 4-year-old car, if you look in their past history and they buy new cars, as soon as somebody puts a new touchscreen in the car, they want that car. As soon as somebody puts some new technology in the car, they want that car. When the electric cars come out, they want that car. Any new technology makes them go like, they go to the auto show. I've never understood this. Forgive my rant, but I worked auto shows in the 90s, all over the United States. I love working auto shows. And the majority of people that go to an auto show to pay to get into an auto show have bought a car within the last year. You know why they go to the auto show? Because they love new cars. So that person is out there, they just got a car and they go, oh, I should have got that one. Oh, maybe I should have got that one. It's got to be the most painful thing in the world to go find out what you should have bought and what you bought was not really what you wanted because you went to the auto show. New car people and people that buy 1-year-old or current generation pre-owned or certified cars are going to trade cars in a 2 to 4 year cycle. If I can reduce, this is crazy, right? If I can reduce how much I'm paying by, let's call it $7,000. So 7,000 is 7,014, right? 14 and 14 is 28. So in a 4-year period of time, I've got $28,000 that I didn't spend in the form of payments. And somebody goes, well, Casey, if you pay the car off, you don't have any payments. I'm not talking about people that are going to pay the car off. These are people that trade their car in with an open note on the car, which is the majority of people. Very few people trade a car in and have the title in their hand. So how do I do the best job for my customer and how do I prepare for the future if interest rates do jump 1, 2, 3, or 4%? Because it's a possibility. The lease really works out. The number one thing that people want to do is they want to own their car. Now, I'm going to finish today with that. I want to own my car. I want to own my home. I want to be the number one thing in America is I want to be a homeowner. Okay, so when people tell me they're a homeowner, my question is, so you have paid your house off? Wow, you're pretty young and you've already paid. Well, no. I'm making payments. Then you're not a homeowner. I mean, I hate to split straws with you here, but if you owe 25 years on the house, you still have 25 years of payments on your home. You don't own your home. You don't. If you quit paying those payments, the bank's going to take that home back from you. You do not have that home. And the crazy thing about it is, even in the freest country on the planet, once you've paid your house off, you still owe property tax. There's city taxes sometimes, depending on where you live. And if you don't pay your taxes on a home that you've completely got title to and you don't owe anything on anymore, the government will take your home. So can you really own a home? And then you look at a car. Why do the wealthiest people in America lease their vehicles? I've asked so many people that question. Why do people go into a Lexus dealership and look at a $100,000 Lexus and walk out with a lease? Because people that have money don't spend their money on things. They don't want to buy or own things that are going to go down in value. So instead of paying the $727 a month, they're going to pay the $543 a month and keep the $6,600 in their pocket. The more money you keep in your account, the more money you keep in your pocket, the more money you use to travel and experience the world. Why not take advantage of one of the easiest ways to be able to drive a current generation car and decrease your cost of use? In the next 2 weeks, one of the biggest things to overcome is wear and tear. If people say, well, at the end, the finance company or the bank is going to come back in and they're going to charge me for anything I've done to the car. Well, we're going to talk about that. I'll introduce it to you. If there's damage on the car, the used car manager is going to deduct to that. Nobody's going to walk up and go, did you buy the car or are you leasing the car? Oh, well, you lease the car, well, I'm going to charge you for all that, but if you bought it, I'm not going to charge you. So if there's wear and tear on the car, there is going to be a deduction in the value of the car, whether it's charged by the bank or it's charged by the appraiser. Same thing with miles. Why do people drive high miles? Because they needed to drive the high miles. Some people are lucky. They've worked themselves into a situation where they don't have to live in the city. They can live in the country in a little bit bigger house and have a little bit of property and a little bit of quiet on the weekends and stuff. Do they have to drive into the city every day and go through traffic? Yeah, what a pain in traffic every single day. But then those 2 days that they're off, they're out there in tranquility and they're willing to do that trade-off. So they're going to drive more than the average person because they needed to drive the miles. Nobody just drives around the neighborhood because they didn't want to go home. So if I drive high miles, does the price of the car go down? People keep saying that you don't worry about your miles. You need to worry about your miles. Even if somebody gave you a car, if it had 45,000 miles on it when you were going to try to trade it to somebody, or 75,000 miles, which car would be worth more money, the one with 45 or 75, right? So even though you didn't buy the car, you own it because you have the title, the value goes down as you have a higher mileage count on the car. So keep your money in your pocket. Don't you want to drive the newest technology? Aren't your children safer in a car that has Safety Sense 2.5? You know the list. As things change, don't you want to be driving the highest technical car and the safest car in the market? And don't you want to drive it at the lowest overall price? Something to think about. I'm going to see you over the next 2 weeks, and we're going to dispel all these myths, and we're going to overcome all the objections. PK52, the Saturday morning meeting.